to another new year. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Rucci. I know we're just a few days into the new year, but as an old one winds down and a new one approaches, we see people focusing on all of the ways that they can change, the things that they want to incorporate, the New Year's resolutions that they want to start focusing on. Now, whether people are sharing accomplishments or shortcomings, a lot of the time this conversation can get quite overwhelming. You start to look inward if you haven't already and start to think about the things that you're not really happy with, whether it's between your peers, acquaintances, or celebrities and creators alike. It's very normal to reflect on the things that people are sharing and subconsciously or consciously compare them to the life that you lived, to the way that you chose to live your life, and the mindsets and perspectives that you entertained along the way. And while these patterns or cycles are almost a given at this point and very natural to experience as a human, I do think that last year bestowed a widespread social awakening as to what is important to entertain in life, what life is really about, what makes your life meaningful, what is worth consuming. All of these things I feel started to come more to the forefront of people's minds, as though people were almost in a trance for the years prior, especially post-pandemic. And I feel like last year was the year of learning and awakening and questioning, and this year is the year of living and addressing and actually putting things into motion. It felt like a lot of limiting beliefs, whether they were age-old beliefs or ones that came up more recently, were starting to be questioned in society. And along the way of learning and experiencing the year that 2024 was, I also sat down to really look inward and think about how I wanted to live the year to come. Instead of letting another year go by where, of course, I had the beautiful experience and opportunity to live life, I wanted to make sure I'd live this year as actively as possible. What I mean by that is I do feel like for the last couple years, things have felt a little passive. I feel like I've kind of just gone with the motions. Last year, I tried to focus more on my health and well-being as a woman, and also just living life in a way that would make my inner child and younger self proud. However, I do still think that there were areas where I could have pushed a little further and could have tested my limits a little more. Naturally, if you're someone who is a people pleaser or a high achieving person or someone with a lot of ambition with perfectionism tendencies, it is easy to be hard on yourself and feel like you haven't finished everything the way that you could have, or you haven't done a task justice, or you didn't do yourself justice. But at the end of the day, I think it's really important, especially at the start of a new year where there is so much pressure, becoming that dream version of yourself or becoming that dream person that you've always looked up to. We need to remember we have a lot of time. A year has 365 days, and while life can feel short and our time on this planet is most definitely not guaranteed, I do believe that divine timing is a very real thing and things come to us as and when they should. Having a lot of these revelations and almost epiphanies last year and experiencing people around me going through the same thing, I really wanted to realign myself and my focus for 2025 to ensure I was getting the most out of this coming year and to also encourage those around me to do the same. I got to experience things in 2024 that I hadn't experienced in a very long time, if ever. One of them being visiting India for a month, and that too doing it as an adult after almost 20 years was such an eye-opening and soul-fulfilling experience, and there are a lot of things I learned that I will share in a future video. Another one was just getting the opportunity to really enjoy married life after all the wedding planning stress. Another was getting to focus a lot more on my health and well-being as a woman. I started getting engaged in a lot more workout classes and types of exercises that I maybe was curious about or previously took part in but kind of fell off of. I took on a ton of clients over the event season, which allowed me to further experiment with and expand my craft. Overall, there were just a ton of moments and lived experiences from the vision board that I made in January of 2024 that I didn't otherwise have a plan to acquire or live out, but they somehow materialized. There was immense gratitude all of 2024. However, despite doing all of these things that on the surface made me happy and made me feel well, made me feel aligned, deep down, I knew that there was something wrong and I knew I needed to change that, which is why I'm approaching 2025 this way. I'm sure you can see this, but in the case that you can't, my skin when it wasn't doing too hot over the holiday season. And if you don't know already, I will include some videos for context, but I have been dealing with eczema over the last few years. Had it for a very short period as a baby and saw little spurts of it over the years, but really only saw it in its prime when 2021 fall came around. And I had an incredibly chronic flare that lasted around 8 months, and all of the experts said it was due to stress. Now 2024 came around, and yes, I had a hectic year. Yes, I had a lot of things going on, but it was nowhere near comparable to 2021. I was nowhere close to as stressed, at least consciously. I had a lot more of a focus on my health and well-being. However, there were areas of my life that had changed since 2021 that I really started to get thinking about. I tried a lot of approaches that otherwise worked in my healing process after the 2021 flare, but for some reason the condition kept getting worse and worse and worse. Things have calmed down a little bit, and I've really been trying to do the inner work more than making multiple changes at once, which I found, of course, aggravated and exacerbated the situation. However, there is still a lot of work to be done. And while it feels like something is wrong with me because the fixes that previously worked aren't working now, I'm trying to approach everything with grace and understand that as the times change and the years change and the dates change, we as people do too, and our bodies change, and the way they respond to things also changes. So this year, as I enter my 30s and navigate the different roles that I play in life as a wife, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and just a woman and human entering this new chapter and phase of her life, I thought I would get serious about being my most authentic and raw self, not holding back when it comes to unleashing my soul and the different passions that it has, to fully allow myself to be and experience life. I thought I would share and document my lived experiences, learnings, lessons, and realizations. I've been in the social and online space for many years now, both personally and professionally, but something about this year is making me feel really called to share more than what I've shared before, mainly because I feel like we're all craving community. We all want that connection to our better selves. We all want that connection to the version of ourselves that is high performing and full of life and energy and vitality. And if I can share my experiences journeying to that version of myself in a way that could help even just one person feel more understood, more seen, that's all I can ask for. I have many thoughts, so I will definitely work on organizing them a little bit better for future videos, but I just wanted to get started on things this year. Didn't want to continue letting any limiting beliefs live up here, because things are not meant to live in your head. Ideas come up only to be expelled into the real world, and if you don't allow them to do that, then you're kind of wasting your creative energy. I think that has been the fix that I have been needing for so long, not just to fix my physical and physiological state, but my mental, emotional, and soul state as well. So I look forward to doing that more this year, and from here on out, you can expect to see me on this YouTube channel at least once a week, and I'll also be on my other platforms throughout the week as well, so come keep me company there, and I cannot wait to see where this year takes us. Wishing you lots of love, light, and opportunity for the months ahead, and I'll see you next time.